You're watching NBC Super Channel.
This week we've headed to an island well known for its very special cake and for its medium dry red wine, particularly popular, I'm told, these days in the United States. To an island lush with eucalyptus and mimosa, whose name is synonymous with the Portuguese word for timber. Well, did you guess where we've come for the 10th event of the 1996 PGA European Tour? Yes, the island of Madeira, for the £300,000 Madeira Island Open. Well, this is where we are. The volcanic island may be off the coast of Africa, but it is Portuguese, some 500 miles southwest of the Portuguese capital of Lisbon. The island was discovered in the 14th century. The capital is Funchal, and it's been colonized for over 500 years. The climate is mild, and the people are friendly. And there's plenty to see and do in what has become a lush holiday resort in the Atlantic. On his way to discovering America, Christopher Columbus stopped off here, and no doubt he took time to sample that Madeira wine. Certainly the golfers will be enjoying a glass or two this week in the 4th Madeira Island Open. Now, the golf course 2,300 feet above sea level, the Campo de Golf de Madeira 6,039 meters long and a par 72. In 1995, Santiago Luna of Spain won his first European title. Former winners also include Mats Lange and Mark James. On day one in 1996, Ross McFarlane and Paul Lyons, using a new set of clubs, led on 68. By one from a group of 6 players, including the experienced Frenchman Jean van der Velde. On day two, Daniel Chopra, born in Delhi, whose father is Indian and mother Swedish, shot 66 to lead by 2 on 9 under from Andrew Oldcorn. And he continued to play well on day 3. This for an eagle at the 7th. Still, it's going to be a cast iron birdie, Peter Oosterhuis.
2 great shots in there. Great chance for an eagle gone. But looking very comfortable at the top of the leaderboard. Chopra finished well down the qualifying school, so a big opportunity here for him.
As he moves up the leaderboard, sadly, England's Peter Mitchell drops back. That a drop shot at the 13th. And when he double bogeys the 14th, he slipped back to 5 under par. And at that point tied with another Swede, Jarmo Sandelin. This is tee shot at the short 17th.
A well-bunkered green, but a very short iron. Just a 9 iron or 8 iron for Sandelin. And that's a tap in for him. Lovely birdie too.
He moves to 6 under par, but by the time Chopra reaches the 17th, he has moved to 11 under. Chopra, who plays quite a bit of his golf on the Asian Tour.
Second on the Asian Tour, the 94-95 Asian Tour. So very successful player outside Europe, and a good tee shot for him at the 17th.
Andrew Oldcorn.
Playing partner Oldcorn, also a good tee shot. And Oldcorn, 65 in the second round, that tied the course record. Oldcorn had 2 double bogeys in that 65, and he also has a good chance for a birdie here at 17.
9 birdies in that 65. That birdie for Chopra to move him to 12 under par. Oldcorn missed his birdie chance. But things didn't go too well for Chopra at the last. Uphill, steeply uphill towards the clubhouse. Not a very good second shot, missing the green. And finishing with a 1 over par 5. So with a round to go, Chopra, having shot 70, is on 11 under par, but he does have a 3-shot cushion over Andrew Oldcorn, Ignacio Garrido and David Howell, who did well in Catalonia, on 7 under, just 4 behind. Jarmo Sandelin in that group on 6 under par as that young sir, high above the ravine, practices with just a bit of wood. Will he be a champion one day, I wonder? So to the final round of the £300,000 event, and on the tee, it's Daniel Chopra.
323 meters, 353 yards, the opening hole. Downhill from the clubhouse area, and that's going to the left. Plenty of vegetation once you get off the fairway. Chopra not happy with that at all. Jarmo in trouble at the first. Missed the green with his second shot.
Back from the United States, where he has been playing his golf in the early part of the year, having won his card last season. Hasn't done too well in America.
Chopra playing a provisional at the first hole, just in case that first ball is lost. And he overcompensated, in trouble with his second ball.
Not a great deal of wind. The course high above Funchal. Sandelin for his par.
Tricky, grainy greens here in Madeira. Lots of slope, lots of grain. The course may not be long, but it's tricky. Bogey for Sandelin, back to just 5 under par.
Des Smith from Ireland. His last win was in Madrid.
That distinctive knee action, gliding through impact, and able to reach this long par 5 with an iron. And an excellent chance for an eagle.
Well, you can see just how rough the rough can be if you go offline here, and well, Daniel Chopra has found his first ball, but well, it's almost unplayable in there.
Luckily for him, it's not a long hole. Stayed down well on that, chopped down on it, and got tremendous contact. And look at this, maybe even a chance for a birdie, having hit a provisional off the tee. Little luck there. Peter Mitchell, great second shot at the second.
That's for an eagle. Beautiful day.
Mitchell coming back well, 73 in the third round, where he struggled on that back 9. That's a great way to start the final round.
We've had problems here in the past with mist rolling around. One of the Madeira Island Opens was reduced to 54 holes, the one that Mats Lano won, but no problems today. Andrew Oldcorn hoping to celebrate his 36th birthday today with a victory.
Showing just how short this first hole can play. Just a short pitch, lipping out for an eagle too.
A young man who did well in Catalonia and also did well down in South Africa, Peter.
Very well. Finished 4th in the South African Open. Not in a European Tour event, but an event that brought Ernie Els. Ernie Els won that tournament. That was just Howell's second pro event, so very promising start to his pro career.
On the second, Jarmo Sandelin. Well, not the ideal position off the tee.
But it's as if Sandelin's used to this. So aggressive off the tee with his extra long driver.
I think he likes the challenge, don't you think?
Well, he has enough wedges in his bag to recover from just about everything.
good contact.
Just missing the eucalyptus trees. And a handy bounce there. He won't be far away.
Well, he too will have the chance of an eagle. The ball just on the back apron. As Howell at the first for a birdie. Very nearly, but par for David Howell, who played in the Great Britain Island Walker Cup team that won the cup against America at Porthcawl last year. Comes from Swindon.
Sandelin for his eagle at the second. Looked as if he could have putted it, but deciding to chip.
Well, that wasn't one of his better shots.
Ball ran very quickly to the back of the green, slow coming back the other way. And after a bogey at the first, he'll need that putt for a birdie at number 2. What a birdie this would be, having hit a provisional off the tee. It just slips by. Par 4 for Chopra.
Still after that opening tee shot, probably quite happy with a par 4. Sandelin for his birdie at the second.
And that's more like it. This one just a little longer at the first, so bogey then a birdie, back to 6 under.
Always very cheery, isn't he? Really does enjoy his golf. What a showman. Old Corn for a birdie at the first.
Look to be intent on hitting that firmly, just hit it through the break. Green's very slow going uphill and very quick on some of the downhill putts.
So Chopra on 11 under par, Old Corn at 8 under par, Howell at 7 under. Golding and McAllister both birdied the first. They're on 7 under par. Garrido got a birdie at the second. He too on 7 under par, along with Mitchell. Here in Madeira, where some people are working pretty hard to make sure the tourists enjoy their holiday. Welcome back to Madeira. In 1993, Jeff Hall was a late entrant to the Madeira Island Open and set the course record of 65. Steen Tinning has had a 65 as well, and this week, Andrew Oldcorn. But if anyone is going to win the £3,000 Johnny Walker course record this week, they'll need to shoot a 64. Daniel Chopra with his second to the par 5 second. Good tee shot.
The whole 548 yards on the card, but downhill tee shot and a fast running second shot. And this is straight at it. Oh, unlucky not to have an albatross too. Going a little fast, but it did hit the pin dead center. And he enjoys the crowd reaction. Can't see the ball hit the pin.
Thomas Gokel has had an albatross here in Madeira. He held a 4-iron at the 12th. In the first year.
Des Smith chipping at the 6th, the par 3. It's a very awkward green, but Des didn't need to hit it to make a birdie.
And he joins the group on 7 under par. Back on the second, David Howell. It'll be tough to get inside Chopra here.
He's avoided the water to the left of the fairway, going for the green in 2, also with an iron, and a superb shot. But those 2 shots on a par 5.
What a great eagle putt.
Don't very often have eagle putts quite that short. Moves to 13 under par.
What a start for young Chopra. Let's see whether Howell can make an eagle. Well, he'll tap in to move to 8 under par. Peter Mitchell, by the way, has birdied the 5th, so he too is on 8 under. But Chopra's 5 shots clear. Chopra on 13 under. Oldcorn, Hole, Mitchell and Des Smith all on 8 under par. Smith has just had a birdie at the 7th. And here he is at the 8th.
172-yard par 3, 8th.
Second of the short holes here in Madeira. Some great golf, Peter.
Beautifully played shot. 2-tier green there at the 8th. Now Chopra in trouble at the 3rd. Only 314 yards on the card, but a very shallow green. And losing control of that chip, now struggling for a bogey. And there, an indication of just how steep the slopes are around some of these greens. Back to the 8th hole. Smith tapping in for his birdie 2.
9 under.
Now this for a bogey 5. At a hole where he would have been thinking about a birdie when he stood on the tee, coaxing it down the hill, couldn't hold the line. So that's a double bogey 6. Back to even par for the round. Par, eagle, double bogey.
And at 11 under par, no longer 5 shots clear, just 2 in front of Des Smith. Well holed there by Peter Mitchell for par, keeps him at 8 under. As we join Chopra again in trouble, this time at the 4th. Oh, well, no.
Pleading for the ball to stop. Not enough spin on the ball. Missing the green on the wrong side.
Phil Golding bogeyed the 4th hole, so he's back on 5 under par, but he can get that shot back here if he can hold this one. But he can't. He will remain at 5 under, 6 off the lead. Some of the club members at South Hearts clubbed together to help him in his early days on tour. It's for par. So Chopra drops another shot.
He's won tournaments on the Challenge Tour. He's won tournaments in Asia. Maybe showing signs of the pressure. Going for his first win on the European Tour.
Howell has the chance of a birdie to move to within 1 shot of Chopra.
And a well-struck putt.
Had the line, had the pace, had everything right there. He's on 9 under par. Word from ahead that Des Smith has birdied the 9th to be out in 30. So Des Smith is at 10 under par, tying the lead with Chopra, who drops a shot there. So Chopra and Smith on 10 under par, leading Howell by 1. Andrew Oldcorn is just 2 behind, so 2 is Peter Mitchell. Jarmo Sandelin is 3 back. He's had a couple of birdies and a bogey since we last saw him. And he's on the 8th.
We saw Smith get a favourable bounce from the right-hand side. Can Sandelin hit the right level of the green? A little long. Now a very difficult putt coming down from the top level to today's pin placement.
Oldcorn for par at the 5th. Nope.
The greens are very difficult. If the putt's not struck properly, the grain and the slope will grab it immediately.
So Oldcorn is back on 7 under and unhappy on his birthday. Sandelin is going to stick around in Europe through to the PGA Championship at Wentworth, is that right? The Volvo PGA Championship.
Yes, then going back to the States, spreading his time between Europe and the United States in 1996.
Just a par there at the 8th for Sandelin then, no birdie. Chopra at the 6th.
Just under 190 yards. And with these angled two-tier greens, so important to get the line and the distance correct on the green, but a difficult first putt for Chopra coming up.
Smith out in the 30. Joint leader on 10 under. Parred the 10th. And the chance of a birdie at 11.
It was a remarkable outward 9, 7 birdies in 8 holes and 1 bogey in the middle of that run. And as you said, 30 going out.
43-year-old Irishman enjoying himself in Madeira. Back on the 6th, Chopra.
Having to hit it very firmly up that slope. The grain is running with the slope, very, very slow putting up there. Smith for his 8th birdie of the round.
Well, now, how did that stay out? Just veered offline at the very end there. Meanwhile, on the 6th, Chopra for his par.
Remember, he was 13 under after his eagle at the 2nd. That's 4 shots gone in 4 holes. What a turnaround.
A 4 at the 6th for Chopra. He's back on 9 under par. And it's 43-year-old Des Smith from Drogheda on 10 under, who leads the Madeira Island Open by 1. Welcome back. In the Madeira Island Open, Des Smith is the leader by 1 on 10 under par. Peter Mitchell just 2 behind. Has a birdie chance at the 11th.
And what an opportunity gone. A very neat outward 9 for Mitchell. 33, 1 eagle and 1 birdie. And that was a chance to go 4 under for the round.
Phil Golding at the short 8th.
Golding's been struggling in 1996, played 5 tournaments. This is 6th, the first time he's made the cut.
Birdied the 7th, has the chance of a birdie at the 8th.
And getting a little help from the slope, but still a downhill birdie putt left.
David Howell. So much young talent around in Europe these days.
He had a great second shot at the par 5 second, and now elevated green at the 7th. Trying to fade it, trying to get some elevation, and running through. And a tricky chip left for Howell. He finished in the top 10 in the Alfred Dunhill South African PGA Championship and in the Catalonian Open.
David J. Russell's had a couple of birdies today. He's moved to 7 under par. Winner of 2 European titles. Might he take his 3rd title here this week?
And well controlled from the left rough. Chance for a birdie. Back to Howell. Chipping for an eagle.
An eagle that would take him into the lead. Move him to 11 under, just ahead of Smith.
Laying the ball back in his stance, trying to make sure he gets clean contact between the club and the ball. And well played. Fast downhill all the way.
So he has that putt to tie Smith. Meanwhile, Russell for his birdie on the 11th. Swing just a little from his right. Oh, I think it would have gone in. Had he hit it just a little harder. Might just have missed on the left. So Russell remains at 7 under.
Now Howell for a birdie to move into double figures. Needs to be hit firmly. And a very good stroke, no doubt about that one.
So David Howell now the joint leader with Des Smith. Both of them on 10 under par. At the 12th, Peter Mitchell.
It's a dangerous par 5 across the valley. Mitchell had to lay up with his second. Now a chance to attack with a wedge.
3 under today. Well, maybe not close enough for a birdie. Phil Golding at the 9th. Did birdie the 8th. Birdied the 7th as well.
This 9th hole comes uphill to the clubhouse, as does the 18th.
It's quite a climb up the hill.
The caddies hate it. Players don't like it very much either.
Howell at the 8th for a birdie.
Putting up the hill again.
He'll stay at 10 under par, but unlucky that that one didn't bobble in. They've had a very harsh winter here, and the golf course is in remarkably good condition, considering the weather that they've experienced here over the last 3 months. Yes! So Peter Mitchell gets his second birdie of the day. He moves 4 under for the day and 9 under for this Madeira Island Open. Just 1 shot off the lead.
Golding struggled to keep his card in 1995, 122nd on the money list. And look at this putt. Doesn't look like a putt from someone who's missed 5 cuts in a row. -8.
3 birdies in a row. 7, 8 and 9 to the turn. And now just 2 off the lead. Phil Golding second at the par 4 10th.
And this hole's been made a lot easier by the loss of trees over the winter. 300 trees lost through strong winds. And judging the slope beautifully.
It's going to be 4 birdies in a row. He hopes anyway. He's given himself a chance to do that. Well, can Golding make it 4 birdies in a row? It's a great game, isn't it? 1 week you're not playing well, the next week you're holding everything. In fact, it can change from day to day. He's got it. So Phil Golding moves to 9 under par, and he's just 1 shot off the lead. We might need a playoff at the end of this final round to decide the winner.
Many players in the running. Russell needs to make a move. His 3rd shot at the par 5 12th. Steered clear of the trouble on the left with his 2nd, and a chance for a 4.
Well, Howell has already played his 3rd. Remember, he was just through the green after hitting his 2nd from the rough, so this is for par. And he loses his share of the lead. Des Smith in the lead on his own again on 10 under, as Howell slips back to 9 under par, assuming he holds this one, which he does.
That's his first bogey of the day. 3 birdies, 1 bogey, 2 under going out. 34. Still right in the running.
David Russell for a birdie at the 12th. Another of the European players using the broomstick putter. He's got it. He's only 2 shots off the lead. It could be his title. Won the Car Care Plan International back in 1985 and won in Lyon in 1992. Didn't drop a shot all week that week in France. Things are not going well for Chopra. He was at one stage 5 shots clear. Now he's 2 shots behind Smith.
The Swede Jarmo Sandelin. Dramatic par 3, 13th. 220 yards on the card. Downhill over a valley. And a long way to go for his birdie 2. The 12th and 13th. 2 dramatic holes here in Madeira. Paul Affleck's going well. He started the day just 2 under par. Was out in 31 with 5 birdies. Another birdie at the 10th. And with a little luck, this could be his 7th birdie at the 17th.
The young Welshman keeping the best to last. Playing there with big Russell Clayton. Well, Chopra needs a birdie just to boost his confidence, but just look at the swing on this putt.
Remember, Golding's pitch shot went sideways, came back towards the hole. The slope helped Golding, but hurting Chopra. And that little left to right putt remains for his par.
It's almost like a Masters putt at Augusta, except the green here was slower, and they're quite fast. Just shows you how fast they are at Augusta. Sandelin at the 13th for a 2.
He's just made $2,500 in 6 starts in the United States, so really struggling over there. Barely made the cut in Portugal. Trying to 2-putt from long range for his par 3 at the 13th. A remarkable 1995 for Sandelin. Needs to get things going again in Europe.
Affleck for his birdie at 17, and he gets it. 9 under par now, Affleck, just 1 shot off the lead. 7 under for the day. Needs a birdie at the last to set a course record of 64 and win that Johnny Walker prize.
Hal for a par. There's so much slope, it has to be hit just perfectly.
Oh, that might prove a costly miss at the end of the afternoon for young David Howell.
Consecutive bogeys for Howell. Chopra missed his par putt from short of the hole. This for a bogey. And it's been a disaster since the 2nd hole for Chopra.
6 shots dropped for him in the last 8 holes. But look at the top of the leaderboard, a 4-way tie. Phil Golding parred the 11th to stay at 9 under. David J. Russell birdied the 14th to get to 9 under. Des Smith bogeyed the 15th. He's on 9 under, and so too is Paul Affleck. Howell and Sandelin just in behind them with Mitchell in the Madeira Island Open. What a finish. There's a 4-way tie on the final day of the 1996 Madeira Island Open. Paul Affleck is one of the players trying to break free and move into the clear lead. He will if he birdies the last hole.
Difficult pin placement from behind the cup. It's very, very fast.
Whoa, 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 whoa. He was worried about that. There's a ledge just beyond the hole. No birdie. He's not going to do better than 9 under. Des Smith is 9 under.
His tee shot at the 17th. The pin back left today.
Well, the chance to move to 10 under.
Playing just under 150 yards to the cup today. Not a long hole, but dangerous if you miss the green on the left. Now this one coming back up the hill at 18 for Affleck. This for a 65 needs to be struck firmly.
And drop shot, 3 putts for Paul Affleck. Going for the record, 64, missed the birdie and finishes on 8 under. 72, 69, 73, and a good closing round of 66 from Affleck. A 66-2 on the final day from Raymond Russell, but a closing 80 from Peter Hedblom, a winner on tour earlier this year in Morocco.
Golding's in trouble at the 13th. A plugged lie. Chopping down steeply on that, trying to get the leading edge underneath the ball, but a very bad lie. The elevated tee, that ball just floated down into the face of the bunker.
Well, Des Smith with Golding on 9 under par.
Out in 30, all pars and 1 bogey coming home. Bogey at the 15th for Des. Been using long putter since August last year.
So he's now got to improve on 9 under par. David J. Russell, of course, also 9 under. 3-way tie at the top. Following Affleck's drop shot at the last. Could be a 2-way tie if Phil Golding doesn't hold this putt at 13.
We saw Sandelin have trouble with this putt. It's an awkward one across a ridge. That left for a bogey 4 for Golding.
So he will slip back to 8 under par. Des Smith has this putt at 17 to stay at 9 under.
These are the putts where the long putter really can help a player who's had trouble. And he holds it.
Des Smith and David J. Russell on 9 under par, sharing the lead. 1 shot clear of Paul Affleck in the clubhouse. Carl Sunison has just birdied 15 and 16 to get to 8 under. Sandelin's on 8 under. Mitchell's 8 under. Chopra's 8 under. And now Golding is 8 under par after he takes a 4 there at the 13th. David Hull is back on 7 under par. He's dropped 6 shots in his last 8 holes. This is Smith at the 18th.
So a big opportunity for Smith, but a difficult second shot. 3 bunkers out of vision, short and right of the green. The pin just over the ridge. And a beautiful shot from Smith.
Well, now Smith for a 3.
It's very fast. Just needs to coax it down the hill.
He's got to watch that ledge, which is just beyond now. Stop, stop. It's not going to stop.
And he knows it. He knew very early he'd hit it too firmly.
Somewhat stunned Des Smith. His 4th shot. He's got that for 5. He's going to drop at least 1 shot.
And after a beautifully played second shot, coming up the hill, over the bunkers, over the ridge, and not getting rewarded for that great second. Peter Mitchell, 3 putts. This for his 3rd putt at the 17th.
Smith then for 5. This for a round of 68.
This is the same putt that Affleck missed on the left.
A double bogey for Des Smith. A 69 to add to a 73, a 71 and a 68. And Des Smith finishes on 7 under par. 1 shot behind Paul Affleck in the clubhouse. 4 putts there on the last for him.
David J. Russell, his tee shot at 17.
And the chance of a birdie for him. He's the clear leader now on 9 under par. 1 shot clear of Affleck in the clubhouse.
Now Russell, a big opportunity.
He has to take a 2-shot lead.
Slippery around the cup. We know Mitchell 3-putted here. Makes his par. Stays 9 under.
Meanwhile, at the 18th, Mitchell's got to hit this pretty hard to get it up the slope.
Holding its line nicely, and that's a fine putt.
72, 66, 73 in the first 3 rounds. And Mitchell will tap in for a 70 to finish on 7 under par, 281, which will tie him with Des Smith in the clubhouse and with David Carter, who finished 68, 67 over the weekend for 281.
And that's going to be David Carter's best finish on tour in his 2nd year on tour. Sandelin at the 17th. Hit it very close yesterday and made his birdie. And hardly surprisingly, the most aggressive play on this hole today. Over the pin and a chance for a 2. Up to the 18th. A good drive from David Russell.
You can't really finish below the hole here because if the ball spins back, it runs down off the green. You've got to be almost above the pin, but not as far above the pin as that.
Trying to make sure he was on the upper level. Now back at the 16th, Phil Golding. A lot of slope on this 16th green.
This to share the lead on 9 under. Look at the swing.
And he hit that so firmly, died very quickly and then just went sideways.
He misses the chance to go to 9 under. He misses the chance of catching Russell. Sandelin has the chance to catch him at 17 if he can hold this for 2. Virtually straight putt. And straight into the cup from Jarmo Sandelin, and does he enjoy that? He shares the lead now with 1 to play.
He may not have played well in the United States, but he certainly hasn't lost that magic putting touch.
The touch that helped him beat Severiano Ballesteros last year for the Tour España Open Canarias. This is a tough one for David J. Russell. Downhill, fast.
Coming out of the fringe, just got caught up enough to make the difference. He knew he couldn't afford to go very far past. And now he faces a difficult par putt. Phil Golding had an almost impossible first putt on the 16th green. That was for a birdie. Now this for a par.
Well, he was putting for a birdie. He ends up making a bogey, and Golding slips back to 7 under. And he may well have now lost his chance of taking the title. Meanwhile, at the 18th, more problems for joint leader Russell. That was for 4.
And he thinks it's going to stop there, but now all of a sudden he realizes it's gone, and looking back at the cup, how can the pin placement be there? But it wasn't a very good first putt, and perhaps it wasn't a very good second putt either.
Well, David J. Russell was hoping to win his 3rd tour title. But now he's putting for a bogey 5, having been just through the green in 2. The best he can do is 6, and that will mean 4 putts.
He tried to do the right thing on his approach, get the ball on the right level. Just went too far. That safely hold, but it is a 4-putt.
73, 69, 69, and a closing round of 70 for 281. He finishes on 7 under par. Tied in the clubhouse with Mitchell, Smith and Carter, and Jarmo Sandelin. He's out on his own on 9 under par, in the lead by 1.
I wonder if news of this difficult pin placement has filtered back to the players still on the course. Let's see how Sandelin deals with this. There's a good drive and a full wedge for Sandelin. An excellent shot. He'll have to play quite a bit of break right to left, but maybe not the danger of slipping back to the front of the green for Sandelin.
That last hole has proved troublesome for so many players. Carl Sunesen taking a 6 there, dropping back to 6 under par, 71 for him for 282. Russell we saw taking 6. Marchbank had a 6. He had a closing round of 80 for 291.
Holding for a par at 17 and moved a little quickly on that. He was 9 under par after 4 consecutive birdies around the turn, but it slipped away on the back 9.
He's dropped 3 shots in the last 5 holes. So Golding is back on 6 under, 3 off the lead. And only 1 hole to play.
Chopra still at 8 under, but this for a par at the 16th, par 5. He struck it well, but that slips by.
He'll slip back to 7 under. He'll have to finish 7 under to tie Carter, Smith, Mitchell and Russell in the clubhouse. So he's not going to take that first prize, but Jarmo Sandelin can, as long as he doesn't 3-putt the last. He's got this for 3.
He's normally very aggressive on any putt.
He's got 2 putts to win the title from Paul Affleck. Taking absolutely no chance. He's unlucky that the ball didn't drop in for 3, and there have been very few 3s here at the 18th. But Jarmo Sandelin will tap in to win the Madeira Island Open 1996. Mark James, Mats Lanner, Santiago Luna, and now Jarmo Sandelin taking the title here in Madeira. 72, 67, 71, 69 for Sandelin, finishing on 279. 1 clear of Affleck. Carter, Smith, Mitchell, Russell and Chopra all finished on 7 under. Phil Golding with Ian Pyman, Carl Sunesen and Diego Borrego finishing joint 8th on 6 under par. And this, Peter, the putt that really clinched it.
A good tee shot and a bold putt from the fringe for Sandelin. He knew it was very important at the time.
Ian Woosnam still top of the Volvo rankings. Jarmo Sandelin moving up from 149th to 14th with his victory. Paul Affleck, incidentally, 81st to 19th. But here in Madeira this year was the year of Jarmo Sandelin.